What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another fabulous episode of King Fab and Off-Road. We are to bigger and better things. Today we have the bed off of the first gen Tacoma of my customers here, and this is it in all its glory. It is going under the knife. Now, as you can see, this frame is not as bad as some, but we have this going on here. We've got some rot in there. Kind of hard to tell, but that's a hole. There's a hole right there. So we have teamed up with Safety Cat here. Not teamed up with them. They're not paying me. I'm not paying them, nothing like that. But have all the stuff here from them. I got everything from under the cab back. So we're going to get this thing lifted up. We're going to assess all the rest of the damage, clean it up, and we are going to get started on this tonight. Stay tuned, guys. If you're interested in seeing how these caps go on, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no hiding anything. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how this all plates on there. That way you guys that are interested in doing this have some insight to it. So, cool. Stay tuned, guys, and let's get it going. Okay, so the cool part about this truck is when I initially got this truck in the shop, I actually thought the inner frame was a lot worse than it is, but we're lucking out a little bit in the aspect that it has not broken yet and that it is all still one piece. So I decided to, obviously, you don't have to pull the bed, they say, to do this, but I thought that's crazy because how are you going to coat everything, paint everything, and get good welds? So as long as you have access to it, it should go on pretty nicely. The back of the frame's doing pretty good, so I got it racked and it's lifting. It was a little crunchy, but we're gonna get it up there and we're gonna get a look at the underneath and hopefully do the work from the forward section of the truck to the back. So let's get going. All right, hopefully you guys can see that pretty decently. This is our main side problem. This is the passenger side. What we have here is it's rotten pretty much from up here to, well, almost, I guess, right where the front door starts. Once you get to this cross member anyways, the carrier bearing cross member, it's actually really good in front of that, but I went ahead and opted to get the pieces that sandwich this all together, so this will be all new and clean. The catch to this is they have a section, which I'll show you in a minute, that goes to here, and I may have to move this actually, and then you have to actually cut these out to put the new spring hanger and everything in. It's all built onto this piece over here. Let me see here, find it, right there. So, you can do it two ways. You can cut the old piece out around it and actually slide this around it and not mess with moving the springs, or cut the old one out. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it, but you'll be the first to know. So I'm gonna start prepping things up and just fitting some things, and then I'll let you know as it starts coming together. Okay, guys, I got all the frame right here cleaned out. This is the center section. It goes from right behind the transmission cross member to the carrier bearing cross member. It's I don't know, 2.5, 3 foot, something like that. And it fits very well. My first impressions are that they did a good job fitting it. It's a little bit wider than the frame by like 1/8 of an inch, so I have to clamp it as I go down to weld it. But I expect that they probably do that. I'm sure there's a variance in width on these things and they don't want it to be too small. So no harm, no foul. And for what we're doing to simply strengthen this frame and make it last another 10 years, you know, this will be perfect. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to start stitching this in. I'm opting to, this is probably going to be the easiest piece on the whole truck, because on this side I'm going to have to take the fuel tank out to put it in, or at least move it out of the way. I'm not sure, but I'm going to stitch the back sides more so, and also stitch the fronts. I don't feel like you have to weld this thing all the way around. As long as you get your rosettes and everything in, it's going to be plenty structural. It's going to be holding onto the frame like it needs to. And once this is all together and butted together, it'll be in really good shape. So stick with me, guys, to get some welds put on there, and then we'll start piecing this dude together. Okay, guys, after, shoot, I'm 3 hours in. I got the front center plate put in, rosetted it, put some stitches along there. Now I got the spring undone, which luckily my bolt came out of this side. Now this piece, now I'm not trying to talk bad on them, but the actual angle from the bottom going up to the top is wrong. So I actually had to cut a relief back here to fold this piece up, and then I'll re-weld that up. This technically doesn't go to anything, so it's not a big deal, but this butts up to our next piece. And so essentially I'm just not quite happy with the fitment on this particular piece, and maybe this frame's a little off or something. You know, I mean, it's 20 years old, who knows? But overall, I'd say it's a 6 out of 10 on how this is going. It's taking a little longer than I thought. I'm having to fit more than I thought. But it's okay. We're about to get this piece welded in, the spring hanger section, and or spring mount, I'm sorry, and then move on to the top piece. We'll at least get this side done tonight. So. Alright, guys, I am filthy, if you can't tell. It is almost midnight and I gotta work tomorrow. So what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours, pretty much, a little less, to get the center plate, the spring mount plate, and the rear half, the hump over here, and also the spring shock hanger. It has been decent so far. I had to do a lot of fitment cutting, make everything fit to the frame, so anticipate that if you do this, but overall not too bad. Considering I'm a little under halfway done, one night's work, I'll get to the other side. Have to take the tank and stuff out for that, but overall I'm going to get some paint on this side. I'm going to have to push this out in the meantime, and then we'll do the other side. I'll give you kind of a rundown on that and an overview when we're done. On day 2 of this Tacoma frame rebuild. This is the side I did the other night. Got it kind of first coat of primer under it, and then we are doing this side. I've got this piece about ready to go in, cleaning up where it's going to get welded in the frame, and then coated the inside of the piece so it doesn't rust, and then we are going to get it slid up there for fitment and start welding it in. Once this piece is in, the center section or under the cab, we're going to be taking the tank out and getting the midsection where the frame mount, or I'm sorry, the spring mount goes. That way it's all good and the way it should be, so I can get all the welds I need. So I'll show you what that looks like as we get it out. Okay, got all the lines off and this piece put in, the center piece. It is welded in all the places I want. Now I am moving to the tank. We've got the skid plate off, the lines off from the top. These just come off right there. And then you take out a 14 millimeter that is typically rusted, so hopefully it comes out there. Hence that we're about to fix. That's no good. And then these just have 12 millimeters that hold the skid plate, and then a single one up here that holds it on otherwise. So should come out pretty decent. Well, there you have it. The problem child of this whole job pretty well. This is why we're here. Such a shame, because you go to the front of this thing and it looks fine. Like starting in front of this plate I put in, looks almost brand new. So this is just what you got to do if you want to keep them on the road. So I'm going to get this all cleaned off. I got to cut this hanger off just like we did on this side. And then we'll start fitting the next plate up here. We'll have to take these lines off like we did there. Stuff like that. But we'll get it going. And I'll show you how that fits in there and get it welded in as well. Alright guys, this has been a long video of a lot of nothing. I know it's kind of boring, but if you're watching this, you're probably going to be doing this, or you're thinking about doing it. I finally got the last piece on the rear of the driver's side. Everything's bolted back in, everything's welded in. I chose to stitch weld everything, and by stitch I mean there's some bad spots in the frame that are still a little rusty, and there's some that are good, so I chose to weld in all the good spots anywhere I could essentially, but not mess with all the rusty crap because it don't do you no good. What I'm also doing here is this is where the two pieces come together, and I did a solid bunch of welds here to tie everything together, and then I'm going to be putting a small fish plate here just to tie it all in so it's together, this side and the other side. And then we're gonna shoot some paint on this, put the tank back in and stuff like that, and we'll be done, guys. This thing's a whole heck of a lot better than it used to be, for sure. I'm excited to get it all wrapped up and get it back to the customer. All right, guys, there's the finished product. I got the rubberized undercoating on there. I used some Duplicolor middle of the road stuff. It looked really good coming out, but it is taking forever to dry. So if you find the cheaper Duplicolor rubberized undercoating, be careful with that. Just gotta wait a while, but otherwise seems to be really good. Like I just said, I got the tank back in. You guys just watched me do that. Need to hook up the lines and then get the shock hooked up on the driver's side, put some tires on it, and then get the bed put back on, and this gym is wrapped up. I will do all that, I think, off camera. Taking the bed on and off is actually very simple. Just a few bolts on these, just here, and back here through the top, and these run up to your taillights. So no need to go over that with you on camera anyways, but overall I would give this a satisfactory rating of 7 out of 10, maybe a 6. And I say that in regards to how these pieces fit. I didn't do a lot of talking on the camera because, quite honestly, it took a lot of cutting and fabricating these pieces to make them fit on the frame. I thought they would fit a little better, but just the contour of the frame was off, or their pieces were off just a little bit. So safety cap, if you are watching this, no harm or foul to you guys. You do great work. The quality of the metal look good, your welds look great. I think you guys are just a little off on some of the fitment and some of the brackets that goes around, but otherwise, if you guys are looking to fix up your Tacoma, I would go for it. If you don't want to cut the pieces out yourself and you do not feel confident in getting those things, you know, for it, cut out and whatnot, like I just said, these do fit good for somebody that needs a start, and I would use them again. So anyways, I hope that you guys found a little bit of enjoyment seeing this old Tacoma come back to life. I know it was fun for me, you know, just getting this whole job done for this gentleman. I think he's going to be happy to have his truck back. And overall, guys, like always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope to catch you next time. Thanks.